και απόλαυση. Σε έναν κόσμο που συνεχώς τρέχει, η ποίησή του είναι μια υπενθύμηση για να σταματάμε, για να εκτιμήσουμε την κάθε στιγμή και να την κάνουμε μοναδική. Σας ευχαριστώ για την προσοχή σας.
Όπως αυλαία εγώ χείτον γεννήμη, όπως αηφορίζομαι. Είδον θέλω γενέστε, όπως εγώ να λούσω. Είδον γίνε γεννήμη, όπως εγώ σ' αλείψω. Και τον είδε μαστό και μαργαρό τραχύλο, και σαν μέλλον γεννήμη, μόνο πως συμπάθημε. Και τον είδε μαστό και μαργαρό τραχύλο, και σαν μέλλον γεννήμη, μόνο πως συμπάθημε.
Good evening, everyone. Today, me and my co-workers, Catherine and Stefania, will present your work on the project Poets Set to Music given by our teacher, Mrs. Kelepouri. Our poet is Solomos, and we will begin with his biography. On this part, Catherine put a lot of effort and did an exceptional and wonderful work. For that, we thank her very much, but since it's not very comfortable presenting it, I will take her place instead. So here we will talk about Solomos' family. He was born in 8 April 1789 in Zakynthos and lived in a family of 5. His parents were Angelika and Nikolaos Solomos. He also had 3 siblings, Dimitris, Roberto, and Elena. Eventually, he left his last birth in Kerkera in 9 February 1857. Solomos studied at the University of Pavia. During his journey there, he met Santo Rossi, who took him in Italy and continued his education. While being in Italy, he went to Cremona and in the Lyceum of St. Catherine for adjustment purposes, because it seems like he had a troubled childhood that had a great impact on his behavior and emotional expressions. In his works and poems, he always referred to events of his time that were worth mentioning or were eye-catching. Eventually, this method made him, in the later years, known worldwide, and until today is praised by his locals in Zakynthos. Therefore, he is also the national poet of Greece, and here are some of his greatest poems: The Hymn of Liberty, The Fervor and My Will is Rock, which is also the one that we have on this project. Apart from his work and the marvelous impact that it had in the world of literature, he also represented the 7th Island School. Let's talk now about the highlights of his era. At the time Solomos lived, many important events occurred. For starters, the Greek Revolution in 1821, where the Greek people decided to go against the Ottomans and fight for their freedom and the creation of a Greek independent state. Secondly, there was the siege and heroic exit of Messalagi in 1826. At that point, the Greeks had sacrificed themselves as a motivation for the others to keep fighting for their independence and freedom. Lastly, the death of Lord Byron, also known as George Byron VI Baron Byron, who was one of the greatest personalities of its time. That's why his death caused a great impact in the timeline of history. At this point of our presentation, I'll yield the floor to my co-worker Stefania for her part.
Now I want to present to you my work. So let's start it. The poem "My World is a Rock" it was created between 1825 and 1826. The poem "My World is a Rock" by Dionysius Solomos is included in the poetic collection Solomonic Works. The theme of this collection focuses on resilience, personal will, and freedom, main topics. The main topics of this poem refers to deep emotional tension, which expresses bonding between person and homeland, pain, freedom, and personal will. The composer who set the music was Manos Markopoulos. The poem "My World is a Rock" by Dionysius Solomos was set to music in 1826. The interpretation of the poem was carried out by Άννη Κελεπούρη. The impression that comes from the poem is one of resilience and defiance. Specifically, when someone reads this part of his work, it's obvious that they realize that Dionysius Solomos was a spiritual man who wanted to pass an important message to his audience. The message is a powerful declaration of commitment, and it invites reader to reflect on their own willpower, especially in the face of overwhelming obstacles. In the end, I want to tell you that Giannis Halkias' music in "My World is a Rock" enhances the poem's emotion, highlighting the poem's strength and determination.
Okay, so you want to say something else?
That's it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So going back to me again, I know you're tired of hearing me talking. Let's see what I worked on this project. My first assignment was the translation of the poem "My Will is a Rock." Furthermore, I will read you both the Greek and English version. Η ελληνική, στα ελληνικά έλεγε «Η θέλησή μου βράχος», δεν ξέρω γιατί έχω ψηφίσει, τέλος πάντων. «Η καρδιά μου φωτιά και η σκέψη μου πέτρα». Η σκέψη μου πέτρα. Μου λένε πως όλα μπορούν να περάσουν, και τα πικρά και τα γλυκά, και τα γλυκά και τα πικρά. Αλλά η καρδιά μου δεν θα αλλάξει τον καιρό της αβεβαιότητας, και στο μυαλό μου θα τρέχει σαν τα κύματα της θάλασσας. Η θέληση μου βράχος, η καρδιά μου φωτιά, η σκέψη μου πέτρα, η σκέψη μου πέτρα. Τώρα, περνώντας στο English version, my will is a rock, my heart is fire, and my thought is a stone. My thought is a stone. They tell me that everything may pass, both the bitter and the sweet and the bitter. But my heart will not change in times of uncertainty, and my mind will race like the waves of the sea. My will is a rock, and my heart is fire. My thought is stone. My thought is stone. As we can see, there are a lot of differences between the two versions. They're caused by the poor English vocabulary and the lack of adjectives as well as descriptive words. Another reason is the loss of the symbolism that Solomos used in all his poems. It's worth mentioning here that his style of writing is unique and very hard to translate in other languages. So as we can see, in this, but also in other poems, one translated the extraordinary hidden meanings and imagery scenes that he creates for the readers are usually vanished or hard to recognize. Moreover, when someone reads a poem of his in the original version, he can feel that he's being direct and goes straight to the point. On the other hand, in all of the other versions, that's completely gone. This occurs due to the fact that no other language is as promising to deliver the exact meaning of the original poem as the one that it's firstly written in. In this case, it was just more visible and easier for someone to understand it, simply because Lamos had his own way of writing and expressing himself, one that not every Greek can fully understand, one that can't be fully translated into any other language in the world. So the differences were brevity and directness, linguistic nuances, imagery and symbolism, charm, pace and rhythm of the poem, cultural and linguistic differences, as well as subtitles of the poetic nuance. Eventually, I was also inspired by this masterpiece of Solomos and have decided to write my own poem about the same topic, even though I have to admit it's nothing close to the one he wrote. Willingness is the best weapon you could have. You achieve things and become who you are, not because you're smarter than others or because you're younger than money. You became you because you wanted it, because you're willing to sacrifice everything to reach the top, because you want to live in the dream life you've always imagined, because you don't want to live in the shadows of others, but you want is given to you if you're willing to do anything it takes to reach it. So in conclusion, I want to thank my co-workers once again, and also our teacher that gave us an opportunity to get more involved in the world of literature and take in a lot of new information while also developing new skills. She was also very helpful and guided us through everything step by step, and that shows the kind of person she is: kind, generous, and in one word, awesome. Closing this presentation, we're going to listen to a musical adaptation of the poem. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Κυρίες και κύριοι, ήρθε η ώρα να περάσουμε στο δεύτερο και τελευταίο μέρος της απόψινής εκδήλωσης, όπου, όπως θα έλεγε και ο ίδιος ο Όσκαρ Βάιλντ, η ζωή είναι πολύ σημαντική για να την παίρνουμε σοβαρά. Με άλλα λόγια, ας κάνουμε λίγο θέατρο. Στη σκηνή, σε λίγα λεπτά, θα ανέβει το έργο The Importance of Being Honest, μια καυστική κωμωδία ηθών και παρανοήσεων, γραμμένη από τον Όσκαρ Βάιλντ, με αριστοτεχνικό χιούμορ, ηρωνία και επιμονή στην καλή ανατροφή. Η διασκευή για τη σχολική σκηνή και η σκηνοθετική επιμέλεια ανήκουν στην κυρία Άννυ Κελεπούρη, η οποία ανέλαβε να εισαγάγει τους μαθητές μας στη λεπτή τέχνη της βρετανικής σάτυρας, ή αλλιώς στο πνεύμα του Όσκαρ Βάιλντ. Πολύτιμη η συμβολή της κυρίας Μένας Καραβότα, η οποία βοήθησε τους μαθητές στην ορθή εκφορά και ερμηνεία των αφηγήσεων, κατά την δεύτερη πράξη του έργου, συμβάλλοντας καθοριστικά στην θεατρική αρτιότητα της παράστασης. Αξίζει να σημειωθεί πως οι μαθητές εργάστηκαν στις πρόβες με αμύωτο ενθουσιασμό, χιούμορ και συνέπεια, ή, για να το πούμε με θεατρικούς όρους, με κέφι της σκηνής και πειθαρχία. Και όλα αυτά, ενώ οι μαθητές της Τρίτης Λυκείου δίνουν έναν καθημερινό αγώνα με το ρολόι και την ύλη, έχοντας στο μυαλό τους τις επικείμενες πανελλαδικές. Κι όμως, βρήκαν τον χρόνο, την ενέργεια και κυρίως τη διάθεση να σταθούν επί σκηνής, όχι μόνο ως υποψήφιοι φοιτητές, αλλά ως πρωταγωνιστές. Οι μαθητές της Δευτέρας Λυκείου, και αυτοί με το βάρος του αυξημένου γνωστικού φορτίου και του μεταβατικού ρόλου που έχουν στο Λύκειο, παρέμειναν ενεργοί και δημιουργικοί, αποδεικνύοντας ότι το θέατρο μπορεί να συνυπάρξει με τη μελέτη όταν υπάρχει έμπνευση. Ακόμη και οι μαθητές της Πρώτης Λυκείου, που βιώνουν για πρώτη φορά τη δυναμική του Λυκείου και το άγχος των σχολικών εξετάσεων, συμμετείχαν με ωριμότητα, ζωντάνια και καλλιτεχνική φαντασία, αγκαλιάζοντας τη διαδικασία σαν μια ευκαιρία έκφρασης και μάθησης, πέρα από το συνηθισμένο. Όλοι τους, ανεξαρτήτως τάξης, απέδειξαν πως όταν η παιδεία στην τέχνη, το αποτέλεσμα ξεπερνά την πειθαρχία, την προσπάθεια και γίνεται εμπειρία ζωής. Στους πρωταγωνιστικούς ρόλους, με διαλόγους στα αγγλικά, εμφανίζονται οι μαθητές. Στάθης Κοκορόγενης, Σπύρος Βλάχος, Μαρία Χαριζάκη, Κατερίνα Βασιλοπούλου, Δέσποινα Πανταζή, Αθηνά Αβδούλου, Εμμανουέλα